Hey everybody, I'm Jared, and it's good to see you. We're going to talk a little bit about the Ricoh GR3. What I've got here is the Street Edition. This is the 28 millimeter full frame. It's got this kind of cool orange thing on it. It makes me look really cool when I'm out, like I'm a legit photographer maybe. And it's 2025. This camera is 6 years old. Is it still worth your money? And let's talk about it a little bit. Like I just said, it's around 6 years old. I think in March this thing's going to be 6 years old. In digital photography terms, it's like 78 years old in real world terms. And that means it's got some problems based on its age and just some problems based on the design philosophy that they did. So first of all, the number one thing, let's just get some of the negatives out of the way. All right. And it is kind of expensive. This thing is about $1,000, and for a 6-year-old camera, $1,000 is not the best. And even on the used market, you know, you can get them. They're kind of expensive, and so this thing is fairly sought after right now. Other negatives that you need to be aware of, and we're just going to get through the negatives because there's kind of a lot of them. It's very slow to autofocus, and if you have bad light, if you have great light, it's pretty good. It's fine. But any kind of dimness at all, like once you start getting inside and you start to work with difficult light, it's not great. There's a way around that. We'll talk about later. It's not weather sealed. I've heard a lot of people have problems with dust with this thing. So me living in Nebraska, dusty roads, I'm a little bit worried about that. The video is pretty terrible. It's stuck at 1080p. The stabilization is not that great. It's like digital stabilization. And also the battery is very tiny and it runs out a little bit quicker than you would expect. And so, yeah, that's a lot of negatives, but let's keep going because that's not the whole story. There's a lot more to this camera. And number one, you're paying the price for the portability, okay? So this thing is tiny. It's really, really tiny. You know, compared to like my cell phone, this is what it looks like. If I put it on a cat or next to a cat, this is what it looks like. And it's just, in general, next to a bunch of different things, you can see how small it is. And honestly, that's what you're paying for. There's really nothing else on the market that you could literally just put in a pocket almost without thinking about it. It's small, it's light, you kind of forget it's there. You know, in a shirt pocket, it kind of drags, but in any kind of pants pocket, you throw it in a purse, in a side bag. This thing is just unbelievably portable, and you're really just paying for that ability to take it pretty much anywhere, right? Number two is that this thing just has fantastic image quality. It really does. It's an APS-C sensor, 24 megapixels, you know, the sensor that we're used to using quite a bit. This thing's kind of like a standard 24 megapixel APS-C. And the image quality in generally all situations is very good. It's fine. It's kind of what we would expect. The lens, this is a 28 millimeter 2.8 lens. So that's a pretty decent amount of light in, and it's sharp at 2.8. It's sharp pretty much all the way through. There's a little bit of vignetting, I think, if you're shooting at 2.8, but not that big of a deal. I don't care that much about vignetting. Just in general, this lens is really good. When we talk about portability and image quality, that combination by itself is special. But then this camera, the third aspect that is just really kind of amazing about it is the design philosophy. So whoever designed this thing, they should get some awards because it is a carefully crafted machine, and I love using this thing. So number one is it's meant to be used with one hand. So everything that you do is just with one hand. You can just do pretty much everything you want. I'm so used to other cameras, you gotta, you know, use two hands. This thing is great. There are no buttons on the left-hand side, so you don't have to go over there. It just starts up really quickly. It's ready to shoot right away, right? And that's really nice. And it's in general pretty snappy as far as like movement. But like I said before, the focus is not great. And so that's where the design philosophy comes in. Whoever designed this thing, they put what's called snap focus in there. So what that means is that you press the shutter button all the way down and it will just focus on a predetermined spot. Great for street photographers, right? Street photographers love that because they're out, they're setting up their shot. They know that they're gonna shoot people that are walking around in a certain distance from them. And this thing is amazing. But it's also amazing just in general for other types of shooting. So when you start to get used to this and you put, for instance, I have the function button to choose the different distances, you start to get pretty quick with this thing. And I've read a lot of people online start to get really fast with shooting almost anything just by using the function button and then the snap focus. But I'm not there yet. And so it is kind of frustrating sometimes when you're trying to focus on something that's not set up on one of the snap distances. And it just won't focus sometimes. Here's a picture of my son, and it just like, it was it was just at you know, in the kitchen or at the dining room, and it just wouldn't focus on them. Beyond that, using this thing in manual mode is just a joy. It's set up perfectly for that. Quick access to ISO. There's a great little control dial on the back and one on the front that's really easy to move. Manual mode on this camera is really a pleasure to use. It's easy to use too. Another thing is the macro mode is super easy to hit, and you just click it and then it goes into macro. Now it's not a true macro, but it lets us get pretty close. It lets us get details, and the quality is pretty good when you get into the macro level, when you're getting close. And I love that they added that in for the versatility of this. So it's really just a incredibly versatile camera to be able to pull out of your pocket, shoot like crazy, and even like the design, they allowed you to take the screen to 0, so you can just shoot with no screen, which helps with the battery. So that's another way that the designers kind of got past some of the limitations that we talked about earlier. So just in general, this is just a fantastic machine to use, unless you really want to use autofocus in difficult situations. Number 4 is that the camera is just fun to use. There's just nothing else like it. That's this small, that's this portable, that could do so many different things. I chose the 28mm version. The X version is the 48mm, or the 40mm, sorry. I just enjoyed the 28mm a little bit better. I love the ND filter. I took away the video button. I don't care about that. This is my ND filter. I do a lot of like blur and motion blur and stuff like that, so that really helps me do that. It's got these amazing film sims, so when you go in, you can adjust the color. You can, it's very similar to what Fuji users get, except for I think you can't add grain. But in general, there's a lot of really cool things you could do. People have film sims out there that you can go and program to your phone or into your camera, and it's a lot of fun to use with that. It's got double exposure mode. You can go and do double exposures. I already talked about the macro mode. The black and whites look great out of this camera. Just in general, it's a lot of fun. I think that in 2025, this camera is definitely something that you should think about. It's $1,000. It is expensive. It's slow, and by digital photography standards, it's ancient, but it does one particular job really well, and that's it gets that in your pocket, out, and gives you high quality photos really quickly and easily with one hand. That's kind of stunning. It's, in my opinion, it's worth the money. Just to tell you, this thing comes to the point, it gets to the point where the more you use this, it becomes almost just second nature. And so the fog rolled in a couple weeks ago, a month ago maybe, and I took this thing out for a couple days shooting with it, and I had just one of the best experiences shooting photography in a long time, because I was just in the zone, right? You know, where you're in the zone and you're almost not thinking about it. I was in these photos and in these scenes, and the camera became an extension of what I saw. And I think that's one of the powers of this thing. Once you start to get to know it, when you really figure out its strengths and weaknesses, the ability to give you high quality results wherever you're at, and to give you fun options with double exposures and the film sims, it's just really a small creative powerhouse that I freaking love. I love this thing. So we talked about all the negatives and we talked about a lot of the positives. Is it worth it in 2025, right? Compared to some of the other ones, there's just really not much of a comparison out there. The X100V is small, but it's not nearly as pocketable as this. There's other manufacturers who are going to be coming out with new cameras this year, or like refreshes of old pocket cameras, compact cameras that will be able to go with you. But this is a little bit of a special. There's a reason why there's a cult following around this, and why it's expensive is because people love it. I think though, compared to my cell phone, if I'm going to do family photos, my cell phone is 100 times better. And the reason why is because the focus, it just quick, the cell phone is pretty much everything's in focus, and it quickly focuses, right? This thing, I miss moments unless I'm using the snap focus. The snap focus is very good, but in situations where people are moving, like kitchen, and then they're moving into the dining room and they're moving back and forth, there's really no way for me to use the function button to change those distances to get the snap focus. So my cell phone's way better in those instances. But in general, this is a photographer's dream. It's a go anywhere with you in your car, to the gas station, to the store, whatever. A high quality APS-C, a large sensor, is with you wherever you go. And I think $1,000 for that, I think that's pretty good. So I think you should think about it. Think about it. And if you have trouble getting it, the link below, the link in my profile or my description for this video, is to my local camera store. I don't get any kickback. They're not paying me for this or anything like that. But what I decided to do is I've stopped giving money to the evil empire. So I don't want to give money to Amazon. I really love my local camera store. If you have the need for a GR3, I think it'd be great if you call them up. They do shipping. You could buy on their website and it'll get shipped right to you. I think they have the diary edition, the street edition. They might have one more, but you can go and check their inventory. I'd be honored if you used them to buy your Ricoh GR3. It's a pretty sweet camera. Let me know what you think of this thing. If there's any other better alternatives, whatever, throw them down below. But I will see you next time. Go out and keep taking great photographs, and we will see you later.